Hi ladies, it's Mr. O'Sullivan. Today we're going to be looking at lesson 6-3, Exponent Basics, where we just look at division of expressions containing exponents. Today's learning target is I can simplify an expression with division by using my exponent rule. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is, since this is a Zoom lesson, we're going to have some discussion. Mr. O'Sullivan and Miss Townsend wrote out 2x to the 6th divided by 4x squared in expanded form below and then simplified. Look at the process. So I started with my 2x to the 6th, I rewrote it in expanded form, started out with my 4x squared, wrote it in expanded form, and then I made some cancellations. So what do you think the division rule is for exponents? Very good. The division rule for exponents is divide your coefficients so the numbers attached to your variables, divide them, and then subtract your exponents. And go high minus low. And I'm going to show you how. So in our first set of examples, we have 5 to the 7th divided by 5 to the 3rd. The directions simply say simplify each of the following. So here's what we do. We are not going to divide our coefficients for this example because if you look, I have a 5 and a 5. And these really aren't coefficients, these are bases. Because remember, bases are raised to an exponent. So I have 5 to the 7th over 5 to the 3rd. All I have to do is take my higher exponent, which in this case is a 7, and take away 3. So I'm really just going to be doing 5 to the 7 minus 3, which is 5 to the 4th. I'm now going to type 5 to the 4th in my calculator, and I'm going to get 625. And that's my final answer. Let's go on to our next example in x to the 4th y to the 8th over xy to the 10th. One thing Miss Townsend and I like to do whenever we don't see an exponent, we like to put a 1 there. So this is really x to the 4th y to the 8th over x to the 1st y to the 10th. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at your x's. I have a 4 and a 1. And you have to ask yourself, what's 4 minus 1? It's 3. So I'm going to have an x to the 3rd in my numerator, and now I have to figure out where my y's are going to go. Well, if I look, I have a 10 and an 8, so it's 10 minus 8, it's 2. So I get x to the 3rd over y squared. Let's go into our next example where we have 5x to the 5th over 10x to the 3rd. The first thing we need to do is divide our coefficients, so we're going to do 5 divided by 10, which gives us 1/2. And now we need to look at our x's. What's 5 minus 3? It's 2. So I get 1x squared over 2. Ooh, let's look at our next example. If you look, this one's a little different because this has our power to power rule, which we looked at yesterday. So in our power to power rule, we actually have 3x squared to the 3rd power, meaning that 3 is being distributed to my 3 and to my 2. So I have 3 to the 3rd, x squared times 3 over 9x to the 4th. Well, if you look, 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, so this becomes 27 x to the 6th over 9x to the 4th. Divide your coefficients. 27 divided by 9 is 3. And then 6 minus 4 is 2, so I get 3x squared. In our next example, we're going to approach that one similar to how we did our first one, our 5 to the 7th or our 5 to the 3rd. We simply take our exponents and subtract them. So I have a 5 and a 2, so I do 5 minus 2, and I do 10 to the 3rd. Just going to type that into my calculator, and I get 1,000. And then our final example, divide your coefficients. 18 divided by 3 is 6. What's bigger, a 4 or an 8? It's an 8, so it's 8 minus 4, 4. So I get x to the 4th. Now I look at my y's. 2 and a 5, what's bigger, or 5? 5 minus 2, 3. So I get 6 over x to the 4th y to the 3rd as my final answer. And that's it for today. If you have any questions, email myself or Miss Townsend. But remember, the main procedure is divide your coefficients, subtract your exponents, high minus low. Have a great day, ladies.